And we are in for game number 3 of the bronze banner battle between the new chapter and, well, Benassi Tapas, and it's, oh well, that's kinda interesting migration. It's interesting spawn of the map. You can see basically the division of the top right side and bottom left side. It's really curious. It doesn't really happen all that often actually, to have it so nicely divided. An especially nice position is for Skittle in the pocket, who is literally in the pocket. Literally in the pocket. That's quite funny. And I don't really remember seeing anything like this before. And let's see if it's going to be making any kind of actually if it's going to be having any important effect on the game itself. What you can tell from the very beginning is that the main island is kind of thin. It's not really all that big of a mass and potentially could be quite problematic to actually control. So yeah, landing will be quite easily discoverable. Interesting, really, and those long arms in here, for example, at the bottom, they are probably going to be also quite interesting to see, and maybe a bit of a problem for the players, as they might be actually fooled to think there's going to be some kind of safe spot, but well, it's going to turn out that it's not really all that much. But well, in the meantime, let's go back to the players themselves. Let's have a look at the civilizations. Setito is playing Viking, Tatok is Hans, Litval is Persians, whereas we see for NC's Andorin as Persians, Kittle is Viking, and Sniper is Japanese. So that's a switch, Japanese versus Hans. Which I think is similar switch as they were making on the last map on the islands, as also NCs were going for Japanese, whereas BYTs were going for Hans. So yeah, that's interesting to see. It seems like that BYTs are holding true to their idea, and same is true for NCs in this part of the game, whereas the gold mines and the stone mines pretty much safe for Tatok, so he's not going to be having any kind of problems. He's playing Hans, so he's not going to be the one going full on water, and he is facing the blue player Sniper, who is Japanese. Oh well, that's interesting. That's interesting for him, and looking at the gold placement and stone placement as well, really, yet again, not any kind of problem, and it's going to be quite interesting battle between him and his opponent. So let's see. Whereas in the pocket we see Skittle as Viking. Okay, so that's actually quite fair placement on the map, as both Skittle and Setito are Vikings and they are in the pocket for both teams. Whereas on the left we will be seeing a mirror of Persians between Andorin and Nidwal, so that's very fair. That's actually very fair placement of the map, and really you don't really see that all that often in the random placement of the Age of Empires maps. Yet another pretty much okay placement of the gold mine and also the stone mine, even though stone mine could be a bit safer, but much more important the gold. So that's kind of okay. Whereas for green, yeah, he doesn't need to worry about anything at all. Maybe in the very early, or rather late age, for example in Imperial Age with galleons, he could potentially be under fire, but if he somehow correctly actually cuts through the forest in here, he's going to be pretty much safe, I think. Last player to have a look at for the mines. Gold is pretty much okay for Setito, whereas the stone is kind of similar to the players that we have seen a bit before, so potentially a bit of a danger in the Imperial Age or whatnot, but that's not really going to be making any kind of difference at all. Looking at the dock placement for Setito, he's building one on the left, so potentially thinking that he might be first helping his ally Nidwal, but of course we'll be seeing one on the right side as well. If he needs to switch in there, whereas first docks for the other players, that's a defensive one. For Nidwal, quite strongly defensive one, as yeah, usually Persians don't want to engage as much, as they are usually the ones landing as fast as possible and then going for a bit of a boom. Andorin though is playing a bit different strategy by Nidwal. He's going for it offensively, hoping that he can be better than his opponent. Whereas we see Skittle building his first dock on the left and second already at the back, more to the right side. It's kind of interesting that he's already having two docks. That's very fast. That's actually really very fast. Usually see second docks when players are advancing into the next age, but that's not true here, and that's really curious indeed. Very offensive placement of dog by Sniper as well, so that's basically telling you that NCs are feeling very comfortable on this map, and they are definitely feeling strong in the strategy they are going to be using. Not going for offensive dog as well. I'm just going to go back to actually the second dog already being dropped by Skittle, and this should allow him to boom quite beastly. He should be very, very strong. And let's see if he's actually going for some faster advance through Castle Age, but looking how he's Viking. I would be kind of expecting that he might be interested in a bit of a galley rush in the feudal, but at the same time, since he's a pocket, and pockets usually go for a bit of a boomy play, well, wouldn't be all that sure about it. Probably going to be faster castle from him. Andorin going as the first at 19 villages, so yeah, he's going for galley rushing. So he is going for pretty much a standard play, but he's also advancing at pretty low amount of villages as opposed to his opponents. So let's see if the emulation of the strategy that actually Tatok did in the last game is going to be strong enough for him. Well, will be seen pretty soon, I guess. You can see quite a lot of walking distance for Nitwall from the deer to next to the mill, but of course, since we are on water, we are not going to be waiting for players to actually build any buildings that they don't really need to. They are even going to sacrifice a bit of a walking time in or rather for that. Yeah, let's turn the chat off. We have seen a bit of a complaint by Andorin that he's not having a really all that great start, and yeah, that could be true, because he's advancing with 19 villages, which is not enough, especially compared with Tatok, who is advancing as the second player, and he will be having, for example, 23. That's going to be making quite a lot of difference. Looking at the other players, like especially the pockets, Kittle and Setito, they are aiming for like 26, 27 advances. This is usual for faster castle age. So that's definitely what is going to be happening with both Vikings in here, whereas Andorin is dropping second and third dogs, and they will be hoping that he can surprise his opponent and be fast enough, which of course he will be, because Nitwall is just now advancing into feudal age, but since Nitwall doesn't have any kind of boats in the offensive, he was already counting with the later advance it seems. He is having all the boats at the back, and will be having extra time before the boat from the green player actually arrives. Yeah, that's quite a lot of distance for them, and really could be buying him quite a lot of time for the defensive in there. So Andorin, how's it looking with your boats? Finally, first galley, second, third, and fourth. Fourth in here, whereas on the right side we see Doc yet another force for sniper, so he's having already two of them, with third being built right now, whereas for yellow we see three dogs, which is pretty much a standard, but he doesn't seem to be interested in helping anyone, as he is still in the Dark Age, and he's going, wow, for actually quite a lot of wills. He's already having 29, and still not advancing, and 70 fishing boats, oh my god. What is he actually going to play? I'm actually not sure what is he going to play right now. I'm taken aback a bit by this fact that he's still not advancing with 30 villages into the next age, having so many fishing boats and whatnot. And he's definitely hoping that he can somehow keep it, or rather that his allies can keep him alive long enough that they can hold their opponents. And maybe he will be attempting to somehow land as soon as he advances into the next age, and that could be some kind of idea. But I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be working, but he definitely is aiming for something quite beastly. You can see already 31 wills. And still not advancing. Oh well, this is kind of funny. This is kind of funny, but he can afford to actually do it. Because looking how Sadito is also going for Castle Age, which means not going to be joining in the battles anytime soon. He's advancing at 29 villages. That's really quite important to notice, because of course this will still be up to the flanks to fight themselves, and if Skittle can somehow make some fast and strong landing, he will be just a bit stronger than his opponents, quite a lot stronger actually, and he will be taking the homeland, or rather the mainland, just for himself, and he won't be needing to mine the water at all. So right now we see a bit of an engagement on the right, because, or rather on the left, because Andorin is doing a pretty good job, as he was advancing quite a lot faster than his opponent, and he seems to be handling the situation quite correctly and quite well. So he's having quite a lot of reinforcements, and not even the three dogs from Nitwall are so far enough. But he needs to be careful, as he's right now housed. This is of course not ideal for him. Of course, Kittle finally advancing at 32 villages, 29 fishing boats. Oh my god, that's such brutal economy actually. That's literally brutal economy. And I'm really curious what we are going to see from him next. He's attempting to build yet another dock. That's going to be 4 docks for him. I would be expecting that he will be just building docks around this island. So that he is prepared for all the for all the fish and also the landing in there, but he needs to be careful because already somehow Tatok has gotten uh, through the blockade of Sniper, and that's a big problem because once he actually loses the very strong economy without any kind of protection, it might be putting a stop to his plan and might be a lot of problems for him. You can see coinage for Setito, so he will be definitely slinging into his allies, and well, yeah, bit of a problem for Skittle, who needs to be. You can see the huge economy from him already having resources for the castle age right there, and well, yeah, he's already clicking in. It will be super fast into the next stage, or rather super fast, not really super fast, goes slower than Setito, but with such a strong echo that not even Setito will be good enough for that. You can see a bit of a problem, but already Sniper is trying to help him as he basically needs to. Even though second flank of boats is already arriving for Tatok, and it seems like that Sniper is actually not doing well enough against his purple opponent, and that's potentially going to be a bit of a problem for NCs, because they were hoping that both the flanks can actually survive and hold the opponents long enough for the Viking to actually boom strongly, but so far it doesn't seem to be happening. Skittle is right now forced to go for this very nicely. Rather go for the boats himself, which is, I think, not something that he wanted just yet. Green is also right now trying to control his opponent in the middle, which is at least something that he attempts to do, with Tato going for Castle Age also quite nicely, so for Vorgalis already, but well, he needs to be careful because even though he has somehow controlled his steel opponent, not fully, but reasonably well, he is not in a position to actually go for it altogether, so let's see. Let's see about that. And really, I'm kind of thinking that the threat of the castle age from Tatok is going to be the biggest right now. So once they actually see that, they will be kind of starting to be worrying NCs, I think, because Tatok is playing quite well on water maps, and if he has the advantage of the war guys for a lot longer, and it seems like that he will be, because Sniper is not even advancing yet, so he will be able to actually eliminate him from the map altogether. It's going to be up to Skittle to somehow secure the water for himself. So far though, he's just been raided quite a lot, as he's not really landing or anything of that ilk. Just right now hoping that he can somehow survive in here and potentially go for the full-on water. But well, I'm kind of afraid that it might be a bit too late for them. And let's see on at the top, where Andorin was actually not too happy about what is happening in here. Yeah, because Nitwall has been able to check actually, or rather survive with enough boats. And right now he's facing basically one with Andorin. And for the slings LB10, Setito will be slinging, because he has researched coinage quite a lot earlier, and he doesn't have any kind of boats yet. Right now he's at least going for a bit of a war, guys, but I would be expecting that he's sending a bit, at least to Tatok, and you can see at least something that was probably for advancing through castle, but so far not much more than that, and yeah, you'll be seeing a full-on engagement by ByTs on the water right now. So that's a bit of a problem, because Andorin was basically facing uh, 1v1 with Nitro so far, even though in the very early stage Andorin was having supreme upper hand. But in here, with the help from Setito and the War guys, quite be problems for Andorin coming in, and he won't be able to hold two opponents just by himself. In here at the bottom, you can see that Skittle is right now housed. That was one thing, and also helping fully on the water as he's having war galleys, and they will be hoping that together with Sniper they can be able to stop Tatok, but since he's already having war galleys himself, I kinda thinking that this is going to be a repeat of the last game, where Tatok was able to quite comfortably hold two players just by himself, or rather one and a half. Right now it's going to be like two, but they don't seem to be too strong, and it seems like they will be pretty nicely positioned for him. For here, and oh, that's interesting. Sniper going to slink into Skittle. Hmm. At this stage it's kinda understandable, because they think that they actually need to go fully for the water. On the left, of course, that was expected. Andorin will be forced to retreat, as he doesn't have enough boats to retreat, or rather to fight both Nitwall and Setito. But to finish my previous thought, Sniper slinging into Skittle, that's kinda understandable, because Skittle is having better economy, is more importantly in Castle Age, and does have the War Galleys, so he is definitely much more important for the battle than Sniper, and if he can produce enough boats, which he should be able to do so, he will be in a pretty good spot. Well, Kinda worrisome though for NCs, as Andorin and Sniper are both in the feudal age, with Andorin just now advancing into castle. But, well, at the same time, NC Skittle is already going for Imperial Age, and since he has already landed and will be trying to build the docks here, he will be attempting to actually go for it. Go for the landing, and hopefully it will be fast enough. But unfortunately he won't be, as you can see that Setito is already landed, basically at the same time as him, but he's going for a lot more, a lot better landing, because he is going for an economy, whereas Skittle is going basically for the water battle. But I'm not thinking if actually going for the water right now is going to be all that important, because even though on the left right now Skittle with Andorin unable to repel their opponents, just for a moment, I don't really think that's going to stop the attack altogether. On the right side, Skittle is also defending quite well against Statok, but not really strong enough, because Sniper is not really helping all that much. I don't really think that Sniper is building any extra boats. It's probably just full on slinging into Skittle to make the boats for him. See a bit of a landing from him as well, so he's right now moving into the mainland. Yeah, he's already in there with some villagers, and yeah, it seems like that actually NCs are going to be slightly faster, but look at how Purple is already landed as well. This is going to be quite nice battle in the middle, and let's see who is going to be better. Setito go in, of course, with the monastery because of the Mogs, to convert potential knights or whatnot from the opponents, whereas on the battle on the left, well, finally Skittle's presence, and much more importantly, war galleys from Andorin are making all the difference in the battle. So, let's see if NCs can actually push through on the left, with life right now finally having the castle age. But I kinda thinking that the Imperial Age from Skittle is going to be quite scary, and since he is going for coinage, I kinda think that he will be slinging as well, and his goal right now will be to build as many docks in here as close to Tatok as possible, and then potentially boom a bit, and of course sling all the resources to his allies. Especially I would be thinking that he will be slinging into Sniper. I would be thinking so. I would be thinking so that into Sniper, because he is Japanese, and if he can somehow establish himself on the land with castles, he will be pretty important because of the trebuchets and of course the samurais as well, exactly as we have seen on the last map on islands. But well, slinging into Andorin might not be the worst course of action as well. He has already landed too, going for barracks right off, so he will be going for some kind of, I don't know, protection on the land from potentially the opponents. Not exactly sure what he wants to build from the barracks, if it's going to be some spearmen from, rather to defend against knights, together with some light cavalry, but well, we'll see soon enough. And in the meantime, let's see all the upgrades that are right now being researched. Imperial Age by Setito, so that's going to be pretty strong Viking. Pretty strong Viking right there, and with second town center already in here, and look at how thin the island is, which is exactly what I was talking about at the very early stage of the game. He might be just controlling the mainland just by himself, and it's going to be a very huge problem for NCs, because if they cannot control the passage between the left and right side of the island, they might be just cut from each other, and well, it would mean quite a big problems in some kind of reinforcements, and of course quite a lot of help to ByTs. So let's see, this game is definitely far from over, even though NC Skittle is having a very large navy on both the right and on the left flanks, and it seems like that he's doing a pretty good job. And let's see what Red is doing. Red is basically waiting for the right moment, as he's right now building army himself, waiting for the Imperial Age also, and the Galleons, of course, they are going to be coming in pretty soon. But since Andorin is going into Imperial too, it almost seems like that NCs are poised to actually win the water yet again in the second map in a row. Quite a lot of boats from Nidwald, so that's definitely something that they can fight with, especially if they join with Setito in here. So that doesn't seem like that Skittle together with Green should be strong enough for this. Yeah, this is pretty huge navy, especially with Galleons coming reasonably soon for Setito. But, well, with Galleons already in place from the yellow player, it seems like that they might be actually trying to buy a bit of time and hope that they can actually stall enough before, rather until they themselves have the Galleons. On the right side though, Tato is quite nicely contained on the water. There's not much that he can do anymore, it seems to be pretty much owned, and I don't really expect him to be going for the water all that much, as he doesn't have any kind of extra docks and he's not building anymore, but he is going for full end, and since he hunts, He's probably going to switch into some kind of knights very, very soon. Already going for barracks though. And of course, he needs to go for barracks before he goes for the stables and whatnot. So, yep, that was exactly the reason why he actually built the barracks Andorin as well in here. So, sorry about that at the very early stage. So, yeah, that's going to be knights from the Persian as well. Of course, as Persians are building usually knights and paladins and whatnot. And let's see if he can be strong enough in here. Red, in the meantime, Setito is doing a pretty good job in trying to capture the island, but looking how he's Viking, that's definitely not something that ByTs would want, and yeah, they need to be thinking about something else. They need some extra monks to convert the knights, of course, and protect the economy, as without that they will be in a lot of troubles before the game even begins on the mainland. And it will also quite nicely landed with 2 TCs already. With blue having a tower and no TC yet. Oh well, that's a problem for Sniper. That's a problem for him, as he doesn't have anything at all, whereas Yellow is at least a bit trying to develop in here with archery range and whatnot. And even though he's Viking, so that's exactly also the player that they don't want to be engaging with their opponents. That's of course good to help with at least some archers in the games, in the battles to come in here. So yep, at least one conversion from this monk. Of course going to be helping, and Tatok finally garrisoning to actually get some extra damage into the knight, and well, we will be seeing pretty much the same, I think, from either Nitwall or Setito in here. Yep, that's just going to be a question of time before the knight dies, whereas on the water battle at the top, we don't see all that much of an engagement, just Skittle losing all the galleons in here, as galleons are already in for Setito as well, but with the second flank of Skittle going from the right side, yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem for Setito alone to deal with. Because Tatok is not going to be helping, and from the left, it seems like that Andorin is doing a pretty good job containing Nitwall. So this is pretty much the last Nitwall's army, as he doesn't have anything else in here. Not even building it, isn't so. Yeah, he's not even building anything in here. So it seems like that Setito will be basically the last one to build anything on the water, as he will be hoping that somehow he can at least make their opponents overcommit and potentially give some extra time to Tatok and Setito on the mainland for the advance. And well, that might not be the worst course of action, but look at how we have seen that Andorin already has Cavaliers, is going for Iron Casting. Well, they are quite better offenses and they are having pretty nice economies, or is it actually true? 52, 53 and 60, whereas ByTs are having 77 times 2 and 52, so actually quite a lot stronger economies for ByTs. But with the extra fish economy by NCs, it kinda evens up, and it's not really all that much of a difference as it might have seen at the first sight. But the boom on the land is doing pretty great, rather going pretty great for ByTs, and NCs definitely need to hurry up, because they are so far not in a nice position in here, but if they can somehow control the transition between the right side and the left side, they will be a good position right there. So quite a lot of siege right now by Andorin, who is going through to actually deny any kind of TCs to either Setito or Tatok. But with Tatok being in Imperial Age almost and having at least some stables, we might be seeing quite a lot of Cavaliers and Paladins from him, and well, that could be turning the battle around quite nicely. Already having quite a lot of knights, but he needs to be careful, as he doesn't want to fight it against Cavaliers. That's just a huge difference, 20 hit points to attack. That's just huge, and especially looking at the upgrades, Andorin is having quite nice blacksmith upgrades, and that's also making quite a lot of difference. So yeah, we'll be converting some of the Cavaliers. But it's going to be 2 Cavaliers extra for them, and oh well, this is very nicely played, and even though Setito is going to lose both of those monks, oh my, Andorin didn't even finish with this one. That was a pretty bad battle for him, because he lost two pretty valuable Cavaliers. He basically turned the battle around for him. Yep, Yellow seems to be mopping up with the battle at the top. Basically Setito put out of the water altogether, even though he's still building some boats, so he is trying to make his opponent commit. But well, looking on the left, how Andorin is just fully controlling what Nitwall is doing in here. And it's pretty much it, and the water is pretty much decided for the NCs. Quite a lot of extra archer ranges at the bottom for the yellow player, as Skittle is trying to help his teammates with some crossbowmen, and that's pretty much the correct choice, because crossbowmen together with those cavaliers are going to be quite strong. So if they can go into some offensive somewhere. What you would expect from ByTs would be halberdiers, but well, with the crossbowman in there, that's not going to be strong enough. But at the same time, NCs need to be careful, because Tato has been able to finish a castle, and that's very important for him, because it's at a crucial spot. It's in the middle of the map, and basically controlling this passage in here at the bottom, and also the very important gold in here. And is there some kind of gold on the left? Double stone. Double stone, one big gold, so that's at least something, but not much more than that, and that's a pretty big problem, because it means that whoever controls the right side and the middle of the map is going to be having an advantage in the economy. The game to come, so nicely played. Nicely played with Town Center trying to be built by Tato, who is already having cavaliers as well, but he needs to be careful in here, because has a pretty big hill for the crossbowman. Well, there are also some reinforcements from the Andorin and also Sniper's Tower. So pretty nicely played so far by Tato though, because he's having quite strong army, going for plate Bardian armor, and with the help of his allies he could be in a pretty good position. But looking how Andorin is having so many cavaliers, literally so many. Is he actually being slung for this? I would be guessing so. Yeah, he seems to be slung by Sniper. And of course, that's the reason why Sniper actually isn't having any kind of lasting presence on the land, even though he is on the right. Quite nicely walled up actually, gathering resources for the gold, from the gold and from the stone. He is right now just full on going into Sling, and that's a very interesting choice, because it allows Andorin to have quite a lot of cavaliers and potentially even paladins very soon. And also it's allowing Skittle to help a bit with the crossbowman, so nicely. Rather interesting choice, because you would be expecting that actually the Viking would be slinging, but so far that's not true, and they might be just turning it around once the water is finally somehow secured. So far it still isn't, even though just a question of time. Seems like that Setito is still thinking that he can make his opponents battle for it a bit longer. Well, he definitely can, even though I'm kinda questioning if it's making any kind of sense. And oh well, that's a unit you don't see all that often. Elephants in here. Well. Are they going to be the correct unit? Not sure, but they could be definitely working on some kind of siege against, I don't know, potentially any kind of buildings from NCs. And let's see if somehow Nidwal can build another castle and build quite a lot of extra of them. Because building from just one castle is not going to be fast enough, and since elephants are super expensive, yeah, and very slow, they are not going to be all that useful all that much. So there's extra gold in here as well. Quite a lot of extra gold and stone. So if somehow BYTs can actually control the right side of the island, they will be having a huge advantage because of the distribution of the resources on the mainland, but they don't seem to be doing a pretty good job of that. You can see right now being built on castle by Setito, which is basically just because of the stone, or rather of the gold, as there's no other reason. He doesn't want to control the water, but if he can control the gold, he will be in a pretty good spot in the game for the minutes to come. Well, there's not much really happening, as we are missing any kind of siege. Just basically waiting. Oh, finally, here we go. Exactly as I'm saying, that there are siege coming in, and that's from Andorin, who is attempting from his castle. Basically, they take down the castle of Tatok, but I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be strong enough. But Tatok will need to build some defenses or some counter trebuchets if he wants to stop that, because so far, just those cavaliers are not going to be enough. Paladins coming in from both Andorin and Tatok. Light cavalry also for Andorin, so he seems to be thinking that he doesn't have enough gold. So far he does, but he's probably expecting that he won't be having some down soon. As you see just right now, having the one dog on the left, and well, unfortunately we have a bit of spoiler in the chat, but let's see how this game is going to be developing. We are still having quite a lot of it left. But with these paladins coming in and the trebuchets right now getting rid of the castle in just a matter of moments, that's probably going to be it in here. And quite a tough situation for Tatok, and oh well, this is a bit faster GG than I actually expected. I was just thinking that there might be a bit more fight for them to go for, but look in how NCs are quite nicely established on the mainland, and even though BYTs are as well, they are probably not able to have enough resources protected without being shot at from the water. This is also in range of gallons. I think they have decided to call it a game, and well, the pretty greedy boom at the very start for Skittle did pay off, and he was he was the important player on the water, and he did win it with the help of his allies, of course. So nicely played. Not even those elephants saw any kind of battle in here. Nicely played. Nicely played indeed. Look at the achievements. With Skittle as the pocket being, oh, by far, by like 3,500 points. That's quite a lot of difference in there. Quite a lot of difference, really. And yep, then the sling at the end by Sniper into Andorin was quite noticeable, because it meant that Andorin was able to have quite a lot of cavalries very soon, and also upgrades sooner than his opponent. That did decide the game for them, because once they were faster than Tatoch, it's exactly what they needed. Well, GG then. GG then, and this means that New Chapter are defending their bronze banner from the last season, as they are winning 3-0 against Birassi Tapas, and well, it's going to be up to Birassi Tapas again next season to try it yet again for the top spots, and hopefully this time, or rather that time, they will be able to finish with one of the prestigious banners of the RTS League.